It was just from right after the Charlie Hebdo attacks. You'll see one of the gunmen there, one of the terrorists, saying what it says on your screen. We've avenged the prophet. He says it 3 times, which has some kind of talismanic quality for him within his own perverted faith. Now, the question is, why did he say that and what it means?
Terrorists often claim that they carry out their violence in the name of Islam. So are their actions supported by Islam's sacred scripture, the Quran? Let's bring in the mayor of South Windsor, Connecticut, Dr. Saud, Anwar, and Daisy Khan, the executive director of the American Society for Muslim Advancement, to ask both of you your thoughts on what's in the Quran. Great to have both of you with us. Let's start with that video. So the terrorists claimed that they were avenging the Prophet Muhammad because he had been blasphemed by the cartoons. Daisy, is blasphemy in the Quran?
There is no reference in the Quran which prohibits Muslims from drawing a cartoon or an image of the Prophet. This ruling came from the Prophet himself, who was actually concerned about people idolizing him or worshipping idols. He was surrounded by idol worshippers, and so he told people, do not make any images of anything, and it's similar to what's in the Ten Commandments, which says do not create engraven images. So really the ruling came from that. Then the scholars extended it to saying that we should prohibit all images of all prophets and God. 1400 years we have not been creating images of prophets or God.
But it didn't start in the Quran.
It did not start in the Quran. It is a prophetic saying.
And is it taught that you're supposed to kill people who do it?
No. It's actually, the Quran actually says that if somebody, mocks your religion, you should go either walk away from them or dialogue with them.
Look, Doctor, this is what you deal with as a politician. You have a diverse community where you are.
Yes.
You have people coming up to you and saying, look, I don't mean any disrespect. I know you're a Muslim, but your book is all about violence. Your faith is about violence. And they reference these types of perversions of what they see as being in the book or the book itself. What do you say?
Well, it's important to know about the context. Every time there's a context of a conversation, you have to look at what is the context, why are we talking about that specific thing. So if you look at the Quran in the broader sense, 114 times it's mentioned in the Quran that God is the most gracious and the most merciful. So when I want to tell my children about something, I repeat something which is very important. So 114 times in the Quran it says, God is the most gracious, most merciful, most gracious, most merciful. And that's the understanding of the whole concept. With respect to the Prophet, in the Quran it says that he is supposed to be loved more than ourselves, our family, and our children, and like all other prophets. So there's a love and respect. And that can cause emotions, but if, God forbid, somebody uses those emotions in a negative way to try and hurt the others, there's no room for hurting other fellow human beings. You cannot hurt any innocent individual at all, because that's like killing a whole mankind.
And yet the terrorists have co-opted what they say is in the Quran. They've bastardized it, but they say that the killing of non-believers and infidels is justified, and they use this passage in the Quran: slay the idolaters wherever you find them, arrest them, besiege them, and lie in ambush everywhere for them. They believe that that justifies the killing.
Well, so nothing justifies killing, because in Islam is a religion of law, and there is a due process.
But it's a literal interpretation.
It's a literal interpretation, but it's also contextual. So it may have happened in a specific incident where the Prophet was being attacked, so he was given permission to fight those particular people. However, there are rules of engaging people in combat. And the rule is you do not kill non-combatants, you do not kill innocent people, you do not destroy property, you do not commit rape, you do not terrorize people, and you do not declare war without... You actually declare war. You do not do, clandestine type of operations. So they're breaking all the rules of warfare. And so even though the Quran gives permission for self-defense and fighting your enemies, it does not say that you have to take matters into your own hands. And surely you have to follow the rulings that the scholars have established for the last 1400 years. Imagine if we didn't have these rulings, we would have had mayhem all these years.
Very helpful context. It's so interesting to hear what the Quran really says and means rather than what the terrorists claim it does.
Can I just add one
very
little
quickly,
thing?
yeah.
So if you look at the life of the Prophet, it's important to recognize that when the times were challenging for the Muslims at that time, he actually asked the Muslims to immigrate to a Christian country, a country where there was a Christian king, and asked that there are just people over there, they will take care of you. And in the same way, when he went to Medina, there were Jewish tribes, and he had asked and then said in the constitution that was laid out that the rights of the Muslims and those of the Jews in that area are going to be the same.
Daisy Khan, Dr. Saud, Anwar, thanks so much for coming in and sharing
Thank you
that
for
with us.
having us.
When we come back, we will have some closing thoughts on the war within Islam.